So for the next session, driving cost-effective, sustainable mobility in our business. To do this, I would request Mr. Neeraj Hakim, VP Sales Ayvens. Mr. Neeraj Hakim takes care of the entire North region as a Vice President Sales at Ayvens. He is from the financial services sector, excelling in negotiation, business planning, CRM, and sales management. His robust track record and skills are on from the Army Public School education background. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Neeraj Hakim?
So driving cost-effective, sustainable mobility for your business. So sounds heavy, but let us try and see how we can use this for finance professionals in this forum. So thank you, Mitali, and thank you, Capital Gains, for this opportunity. Now, before I actually proceed to explain how this is relevant in today's business, I want to ask all of you a few questions, a couple of questions. So can you, I wanted to scan this. Use your mobile, scan this. So there will be a, okay. So I want you to rank your priorities as a CFO or a finance head. Cost optimization, risk mitigation, driving sustainability or ESG, and increasing organization profitability. Yeah, are you able to scan it? So interesting, no? So, if you conventionally, when you look at a finance head, we only thought about profitability and cost optimization, Now we start talking about risk mitigation and driving sustainability and ESG. So, that seems to be a big one everyone's. So moving on, there's another question coming up, okay? Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So, all of us seem to be using vehicles for some or the other purposes. And it is quite clear that this is having an impact on our balance sheets, so, whether we like it or not. Let's see how we can use this information and see how this mobility piece is impacting us. So, whether we like it or not, all of us understand that the vehicle is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity for individual as well as corporates. Now, as we just saw, mobility is used within our organizations. This is an essential piece. An employee will probably use his own car, or you might, as we saw in the last questionnaire, some have tied up with the cab aggregators. Some of you might have shuttles running for employee transport, so on and so forth. And besides this, it doesn't end here. People who have field staff, they would be using mobility for to move to a customer or a partner, and for staff movement. So obviously, either we would have made arrangements with the some kind of a cab aggregator, or we are reimbursing our employees for their travels. So it does have an impact. And it doesn't end here. So, people who are in the manufacturing piece, they would have movements from their offices to factory and from factory to their distribution network. So we would do a lot of expenses on a last mile connectivity. Now, to do all this, either we could have a in-house solution in terms of, buying, having cars on our books, or we would have tied up with some aggregators or outsource the entire activities in one way or the other. So it does have an impact on us. Now, the story doesn't end here. If you have fleet on your books, how does it impact you? It says, when you have fleet on your books, you need to pay for the maintenance, you need to pay for your insurances, and you need to upkeep the car. Now, to do that, you need to invest not only in your financial resources, but also manpower. You would need to invest on an admin or a HR department to look after these cars, drivers, so on and so forth. So net, it does have an impact somewhere on our balance sheets. Now, let us see how this mobility piece has been evolving over a period of years. Now, all of us know that in the last 20, 25 years, we've seen a lot of change in the way we consume. So whether it is, we're moving from a saving economy to a consumerist economy, which can be fueled by a lot of other things. It could be aspirational, it could be change in your technology coming in, so on. Like, for example, music. We used to buy CDs or cassettes, now we just stream online. Let's look at food, online delivery. We are looking at conveniences. Then Blinkit comes in. Ghar ka bachcha has been replaced by a Blinkit. So, we are looking at conveniences. We are, and more and more, let's talk about mobile phones. Gone are the days when I would buy a mobile phone and, displace it when the battery goes junk. So, abhi har saal 15 aaya, 16 aaya, 17 aaya, and, abhi aage pata nahi kya aayega. So, we will keep on spending money on it. So, similarly, mobility is also changing. So, how is mobility changing? This change in our consumer behavior, whether it is fueled by aspirational things, change in technology, is also impacting the way we move around. Now, we move from ownership. Gone are the days when my father bought a Fiat or an Ambassador, we would use it for 20 years. But, now probably people are, moving from changing cars repeatedly. Now, earlier, ownership was a big factor. Public transport, we did not have these Ola, Ubers and all, and taxis and rentals were major things. Then as the economy started growing and we wanted to, more and more technology came into it, then, ownership went down a little. Public transport came up, because, environmental concerns came in. Government wanted to actually promote public transport. So public transport is coming up. We now see metros coming up in most of the locations. Then, you've started seeing that subscribership and ride-hailing services have also started coming up. Ola, Ubers, and now the OEMs also have started offering subscription leasing. Now, around 2020 and 2021, there was major disruptions happening. So one, obviously, we all know pandemic. And the other one is, we all of us started becoming more environmental conscious, which fueled the usage of more private cars. Now, private cars would mean that, ownership going up. But that is not the case. We've also seen technology changing, which is leading to an increase in the cost of the cars. So, now since the car, I'll touch upon the subject on the rising cost, which means that we are going to see more and more public transport, less of ownership, and more of leasing and rental services. Now, let's say how, this mobility is impacting these changes are impacting the mobility. Now, these factors which are told about, aspirational technology, how is it impacting us? Earlier, in age of a car, average age of a car was about 5 to 6 years. So we've seen that for the last about 5, 6 years, this average age of the car, of the lifespan of the car, has dropped down from a 5 to 6 to a 3 to 4 years, which means that life cycle of a car has dropped by 33%. Now, and this is, data which can be seen, readily available. Now, I see that, how is, can anyone, I'll ask you a question. Does anyone have an idea how much of our car prices have increased in the last 2, 3 years? Anyone? Rough idea. Yeah, you're quite close. So, this is the data. So, and Swift happens to be one of the most sought after cars. Swift has seen a 59% increase in price over the last 4 years. Now, what is fueling this price rise? Technology. We want to move to a more greener fuel. You want to invest in a greener engine. We want safety features. We want those 6 airbags. Now, all this is leading to increase in the price, which means that affordability for new cars is going down. How do people, change cars? So that is where this is, they buy cars and probably, because the constant need to upgrade cars is leading to a drop in the. Now, coming back to our topic, now we've seen that as business leaders, as finance leaders, we have our initial area of concentration was profitability and cost saving. Now we've seen that profitability remains one of the top priorities. Cost optimization is something which all of us are concentrating on, and risk mitigation, like we had that questionnaire. A lot of you said risk mitigation is what your priority is. Carbon footprint, we also have a lot of reporting to do. Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3, all of us are finance professionals, we need to account for that in our books. Employee wellness and safety, yes. So employee benefit and retention. So all these have a cost. Now productivity and efficiency, all of you finance are looking at all these. Now the question is, how can mobility help you in achieving these? Now, some key questions. So, the car policy that you have, is it aligned? Is it helping you to achieve these? Do you have the right fleet mix to, so that you are saving on the carbon footprints? And do you have uninterrupted mobility? So I will leave these questions to you, and probably we can discuss this during a networking break, all these questions. So before I, finish off, I would want to tell you a little about ourselves. We've not touched about it. So I will not talk much about this also. We will talk about it. So just to let you know, we've been in India since about 25 years, and we understand the Indian market. We have more than 45,000 cars. And yeah, so the last question, why lease? Why lease? So, I could see from the questionnaire, we found that a lot of you have employee leasing policy. So which means that an employee would want a car, but at the same time would want some savings also. So having a car lease policy enables an employee to save taxes. That's one bit. And then, ease of usage in terms of no down payments, maintenance, people, because they're paying less for the car, they could drive a bigger and a better car, no maintenance worries. Obviously, an employee is able to fulfill his aspirational choices of buying a better car every 4 years. So that is from an employee side. From an organizational side, you need somebody to guide you on the right product mix. So, how do you select cars for your salespeople, for service people, and how do you minimize the cost which you've been incurring on having a separate team of people managing those cars? Yeah, and obviously it gives you more control over your expenses. So that's about it. And before I end, I would, so we have these two lovely cars outside. So probably we can have a look at these also, Mercedes and Honda. These are, symbols of reliability and endurance. Mercedes is a known brand. Honda is also reliable in terms of, engine and performance. So thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing all of you during the networking break and hopefully have some meaningful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Neeraj. And I would request you to please stay back on this stage. To do the felicitation, I would request Mr. Jaspreet Singh Arora from Cogent E-Services to do the honors. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Neeraj Hakim?